This is a really exciting and momentous moment. I have the unique pleasure of introducing the first of the Social Innovation Summit Awards that will be announced this week. And I want to just reflect for a moment because looking back at 2020, certainly our world faced unprecedented challenges. And at Social Innovation Summit, we really aim to take time to acknowledge, celebrate, and honor the incredible programs, partnerships, and people who spread positive change and continue to make big impacts in our communities. So with that, again, it is my incredible honor to present the first SIS Award. Our first category is COVID Impact and Response. And it is my privilege to announce the winner, Off Their Plate. The Off the Plate program empowers local kitchens led by women and people of color to feed their communities through employment and nutrition. This team is awesome. They're entirely volunteers from various backgrounds, including business, engineering, and creatives. They're partnering with the food industry workers to build a more equitable food economy. It is my pleasure to present Off the Plate founder, Natalie Guo, the first Social Innovation Summit Award. Natalie?
Thank you to the Social Innovation Summit for bringing us together today. I'm hugely honored to be accepting this inaugural award on behalf of the thousands of people who have turned off their plate from just an email into a movement. Instead of starting off by telling you about what we do at Off Their Plate, we thought it'd be best to just show you.
12 months ago, a young woman proposed an idea to her friends. She wanted to help the millions of restaurant workers now unemployed, as well as the hospital staff who were overwhelmed by the pandemic. Her friends forwarded the email to their networks, who then shared it further. Soon, what started as a simple idea became a movement to help restaurant and healthcare workers get through this crisis. Every dollar raised went into keeping kitchens open and staffed, which then in turn provided nutritious hot meals for frontline workers in our ICUs and emergency departments. As our numbers grew, others took notice. Our work was covered by the press and even received recognition from President Obama. But as the pandemic persisted, the crises only continued. Racial injustice and wealth disparities drove deep divides in our country, and we recognized we had a place in the post-pandemic world. Moving forward, Off Their Plate is raising money to empower local kitchens led by women of color to feed those who are food insecure in their community. Core to our mission is reducing poverty by ensuring fair wages for food industry workers and repurposing food surplus to address hunger. With our multidisciplinary 100% volunteer-run team, we are discovering new ways of feeding communities. Join us as we reimagine our local food economy to be a better place for us all to eat together.
Hi, everybody. It's a huge honor to accept this award on behalf of everyone at Off Their Plate, the hundreds of volunteers who have made our work possible, and the thousands of restaurant workers who have helped prepare our meals, and the countless hospital workers on the front lines that we've tried to support, along with the food insecure people in the community that we've been able to work with since the fall. The video that you just watched detailed a little bit of what happens behind the scenes at Off Their Plate. But since we have this special time to spend together, I thought I'd tell you a little bit more about how we started. The night before I started Off Their Plate, I was sitting in the amphitheater at Mass General, which is a hospital here in Boston, and the chief of surgery was telling us that this was an unprecedented time in medicine. He had never seen this in his 4 decades, and he didn't know what was going to come. I sat there and waited to hear what my role was going to be, and we were told that many of the trainees were going to be sent home and then asked to come back in waves. At the time, I didn't really know how I felt, but as I walked out that night, I saw countless nurses, hospital sanitation crew, and doctors walking into their shift, knowing that cafeterias were shut down. There was no ability to congregate or socialize, and our workplace, the hospital, had become something really different and really scary. At the same time, I learned that millions of restaurant workers would be laid off. And before my life at the hospital, I actually worked at a restaurant. I was a hostess and a waitress for many years in high school. And I just remembered what that community must feel like. People who typically live on the margin of their finances already, sometimes sociopolitically. Many of the restaurant workers that support our food system are undocumented. And the thought that many of them would be laid off the next day was heartbreaking. And so I had this very small idea that maybe we could reach out to some independent restaurants, hire back their vulnerable staff to prepare meals for hospital workers who weren't going to be able to get it through their workplace anymore, and instead have to, shop in grocery stores and cook for themselves, which is something that after a 36-hour shift, many of us don't have the time to do. That morning, I wrote an email to my friends, and it was an email that would end up raising just under $8 million, and we're still going today. So the why behind how we spend our time is really that, the 300 or so of us who've gotten to know each other through this organization and all contributed to this. There's something so special about this community. We're 100% volunteer run and volunteer led, which means that 100% of donations to Off Their Plate goes directly to the work itself. We think that's pretty special. It's a privilege that we're able to give in this way. And so all of us are giving our time, our donors are giving their resources and sharing that. And we've had incredible partners who've come in as well. I don't want to name them all. I think some of the ones that have done some fun partnerships with us include Maybelline, as well as Lyft and Sonder. Maybelline actually worked with us and Access Hollywood to put on a virtual prom on behalf of all of the country's high schoolers who donated their prom ticket costs to Off Their Plate. And there's countless others. If you're in the audience and you're curious about food system equity, if you're interested in how a group of young people have come together to innovate new ways to address food insecurity, we would love to hear from you. A simple conversation to start, that's really what we're here for. We're asking the right questions, I think, about food insecurity and what our generation can do to improve the situation and change the trajectory of people in the community who are food insecure and who are facing poverty despite working full jobs. If you're out there, you want to talk, please reach out. My email is Natalie@offtheirplate.org, and I'd love to meet you. Thank you.